Evening people, how's it going? We're going to play a little game that I like to call Guess Which 80s Action Hero I Am. Now you're probably looking down, you're thinking hat, sunglasses. Well, they're not really sunglasses, they're kind of glasses that have burnt the lenses to make them look like sunglasses. I couldn't find any sunglasses, fucking sue me. And he's also got a denim jacket on. You're probably thinking, how many 80s action hero stars can there be with that combination of clothes on? And there's too many, so I'm just going to give it away. It's me, and if I can get this jacket off for the remotest amount of grace. Here we go. That's right, fucking Jack Burton. Now, obviously, I'm not reviewing Big Trouble in Little China because Michael beat me to it, the dick. It is a fucking cool tank top. I pretty much just wanted an excuse to wear it. Don't get too jealous. This can be easily bought online, and a physique like this can be earned with a two-step plan. The two-step plan is drink a lot of alcohol, and the second step is get a really expensive gym membership and then never go because you're too busy. So yeah, the film that I'm going to review, you may or may not have seen. It's relatively big, it's kind of a cult classic now, and I'll tell you what, I'll let the trailer do the talking.
I'll be coming for her, and I'll be coming for you too.
Sure you will, and I'll be waiting.
You are about to enter a world unlike any you've ever seen before, where rock and roll is king. The only law is a loaded gun. Where the beautiful,
stay and see the show, it's really good.
the brutal,
I want Tom Cody.
and the brave all meet
From now on, it's for real.
in Streets of Fire.
You're lying in your bed and on a Saturday night you're sweating buckets and it's not even hard. But your brain has got the message and it's sending it out to every nerve and every muscle you got. You got so many dreams that you don't know where to put them, so you better turn a few of them loose. Your body's got a feeling that it's starting to rust. You better rev it up and put it to use. And I don't know how I ever thought that I could make it all alone. When you only make it better, let it better be tonight. I'll be there for you tonight. And if you don't have anywhere to go, you go down on the pedal and you're ready to roll. And even if you don't have anywhere to go, you go down on the pedal and you're ready to roll. Then you'll speed, it's all you'll ever need, all you'll ever need to know. Darling, darling, you and me, we're going nowhere slowly. And we gotta get away from the past. There's nothing wrong with going nowhere, baby, but we should be going nowhere fast. Everybody's going nowhere slowly. They're only hiding from the chance to be last. There's nothing wrong with going nowhere, baby, but we should be going nowhere fast. It's so much better going nowhere fast.
Now, from the creators of 48 Hours, Universal Pictures presents Michael Paré, Diane Lane, Rick Moranis, and Amy Madigan in a Walter Hill film, Streets of Fire.
Yeah, now hopefully you fucking love that and you better consider that your Christmas present. Now, dare say after watching that, there's two distinct camps of people. We've got the people on the left that have rushed out to watch or obtain a copy of Streets of Fire by whatever means possible, possibly even illegal file sharing, mentalists. And on the right, we've got those crazy mothers that maybe just want to know more about the film, or mental concept coming up, might actually want to know what I think about the film. I appreciate your support. And there's maybe a third group of people I'm just going to brush over that fucking didn't like the trailer and aren't interested in the film, and if that's the case, fuck off. So, Streets of Fire, what is it? It is a classic film. Cult classic. Cult classic. Now, that's the difference between classic and cult classic. Cult classic films aren't really classic films. They're cult classic. That means they're classic amongst a very small group of people. But hey, there's so much love in that small group of people, it's equal to the fucking equivalent love for classic spread amongst all the people that appreciate a classic. Pretty much. Anyway, how did I come across this film? Some of you are probably thinking now, this film was handed down to me, like I dare say many people have had done to them, by my father. Obviously, as we all know, fathers like to hand down nuggets of TV and film and general fucking pop culture goodness that they consider to be defining moments of their era, I suppose, in an effort to look cool to you and to prove that they're not old and that, you know, the time that they fucking lived in is actually a relatively cool time. And in this case, he was on the money. Well done, Papa McPhail. I don't actually call him Papa, I'm not that middle class. I came across this film because he'd seen it in the cinema and we were walking through, like not recently obviously, back in 1984, back then, we were walking through a supermarket and it was sitting on the shelf and he said, pick it up, buy it, give it a try, and I looked at the box and I thought, I'm not entirely convinced. I would show you the box and the vinyl that I have of the soundtrack, but Michael has the DVD and he's had it for some length of time and he's not watched it yet. Hopefully he'll watch this review and, you know, might actually get around to fucking watching it so I can add it back to my DVD collection, but hey, no pressure. And I stuck it on and I fucking loved it. Now, there's two really massively defining great things about this film. Number one is the visual style and number two is the soundtrack. Now, it's an absolute masterclass for anyone that out there that's got an interest in film or filmmaking. It's really well visually crafted. I think the director of photography was Walter Deakins. No. Fuck, I've done this a couple of times, this run through. I've tried to do this in like one straight run through, but it wasn't fucking working. I'm pretty sure it's Deakins. I can't remember his first name. Look it up. And he's done a lot of Walter Hill's films as director of photography, and his stuff is pretty fucking solid. It might be Roger Deakins. I think it's Roger Deakins. I'll put it in a fucking annotation or something. And Walter Hill is the director, and he's also the writer as well. Now, he made this film coming straight off the back of 48 Hours, which was obviously pretty successful. This was a kind of passion film for Walter Hill, I suppose. Himself and the people involved all wanted to make a film like this for a long time, and it's got like a combination of the 40s, the 50s and the 80s all kind of melted in, and that does come across in the visual style and the soundtrack. The soundtrack is brilliant. It's kind of partially composed and arranged by Ry Cooder and I think Jim Steinman. I'm fucking rubbish with names. Use Google. Google's your friend. The biggest travesty, however, is if you do buy the CD or vinyl copies of the soundtrack, you will not get Ry Cooder's arrangements, which is kind of disappointing. They don't seem to exist. He did a fucking brilliant version of Rumble by Link Wray, and a very good version of Dave, What's His Face's Get Out of Denver, and another couple of really brilliant songs that he kind of put together for it, and yeah, just generally adds so much to the film. Let me tell you a little bit about what the film's about then. It's about Ellen Aim, who's played by Diane Lane. Now, one thing I will say about this film is it's got a particularly expansive cast. You will not see a better film with the combined cast of Willem Dafoe, Michael Pare, Rick Moranis, Amy Madigan, Deborah Van Valkenburg, Diane Lane, and fucking whoever else was in it. Bill Paxton, Big Billy Paxton. Yeah, they're all in that film, and to get back to the synopsis, Diane Lane's character is a big fucking huge pop star, and Willem Dafoe's character is a kind of leather PVC dungaree wearing leader of a biker gang who kind of kidnaps her in a rapey way, and he's like, you know, I quite fancy you, let's have sex for a couple of weeks and then I'll fucking drop you back at your house and it'll all be cool. But understandably, she's not 100% keen on the idea. Women have got a bit uppity since they got the vote and stuff like that. You know, you can't just fucking throw them over your shoulder and take them to places now. They will call the police. So yeah, Deborah Van Valkenburg sees all this going on, and not after, just after Bill Paxton runs on stage to try and save her, gets his arse kicked. Now, there's part of the hilarity in this film is within the space of 2 minutes, Bill Paxton and Rick Moranis get their arses kicked. And this is a theme that goes on throughout the film. They both keep getting their fucking arses kicked, which is quite entertaining in its own way. So Deborah Van Walkenburg calls up her brother, or actually sends him like a fucking telegram or something like that. That's like what I'm saying. It's got this weird mix of eras in it where the technology's kind of taken from fucking way back beyond. It's interesting. Like I said, it kind of works into the visual style and creates quite an interesting universe. And basically he turns up and within about 2 minutes just fucking starts beating the shit out of every bad guy in a very small radius. And again, he's a bit of a fashion disaster like Willem Dafoe, but you kind of let him away with it because he's a bit of a badass. So yeah, it turns out Diane Lane and Michael Paré used to... So it's complicated because she's now going out with Rick Moranis. Like that would have worked in real life. Oh, that's kind of grisly. And he kind of comes back and he's like, oh, well, you know what, she's my ex-girlfriend, I'm not going to risk my life to save her. But he does get offered 10 grand by Rick Moranis and he's like, fuck yeah, I'll do that. He meets up with Amy Madigan. Now, she plays this kind of rough and ready member of the Army Motor Pool. I mean, she used to be in the Army. She got out recently and so did Michael Paré's character, Tom Cody. And they kind of meet up. Now, what's interesting about her as a character is she's probably one of the more interesting characters in the film because she's kind of like a tough, independent woman. She don't need no man. And basically, for 1984, obviously Alien and stuff came out and there was positive female characters before this, but she doesn't really take any shit from anyone. She's pretty tough. She does kick the shit out of Bill Paxton. Not that that's really any kind of major achievement. But also what's interesting about her as well, although Michael Paré's character Tom Cody is in love with Diane Lane, there's no actual like love relationship between Amy Madigan and Michael Paré's character, where you would normally get this kind of awkward love triangle where like the kind of like slightly less attractive girl or pretty fucking well down less attractive girl to Diane Lane misses out, but they're all friends anyway. She's just simply not interested in him, and it is just like two men kind of and she's treated as an equal, which is pretty good, and it's pretty good for the time, and just in general she makes a more interesting character. But the reason for that is Amy Madigan turned up and she was applying for the role of Tom Cody's sister, who Deborah Van Valkenburg, with her mental name, took. But she said, let me try for this character, because I don't think you'd have to rewrite it much to become a woman. So yeah, basically they set off, they rescue her, and after that the kind of whole situation escalates. Now the first act of the film is solid, really nice intro, and with that, you know, going right up to them setting off to try and rescue her, solid. Second half of the film, it's a bit meh, it's kind of a bit too easily resolved. Third act of the film, pretty boss. There's an amazing fight at the end, and like I said, they use like brilliant tracks like Link Ray's Rumble and stuff like that. So the first and third act are solid. It's just what's in between. They don't really flesh out the characters too much. You don't really give a fuck about certain characters in the film, and generally she's recovered a bit too easily. So yeah, it's kind of let down on that front, but if you open your mind to it, it's a pretty entertaining film. Now, I don't want to spoil too much about this, so I won't say a great deal more, but I will say that it's generally pretty enjoyable, particularly if you go in with it with an open mind. You should enjoy this film if you enjoy B-movies. It wasn't a big critical success or commercial success at the time. I think it cost like 16 million and they got like 8 million back. Whoops. Which was surprising because obviously it came off the back of 48 Hours, which was a fucking major film. So Walter Hill did lose a bit of money with it, but as I said, now it's become kind of a cult classic. I was doing so well, I nearly did a whole fucking run through it, but not quite. Yeah, critical respect that it did get at the time. Roger Ebert, I'm going to call you fucking Roger because that's how you spell your name, much like Rafe Fiennes. It's fucking Ralph Fiennes. Just because you're a pretentious cunt doesn't mean we have to pronounce your name a fucking special way. Gave it 3 out of 4 stars, which is pretty high for him. Now, I don't normally put too much merit in his reviews. I'm not a huge fan of Roger Ebert, but you know, in this case, yeah, 3 out of 4 stars is pretty high. I mean, that's like 75%. I would maybe give this film like 70 at most. But just because I think it does have redeeming features, it's not a fucking masterclass in filmmaking as far as narrative goes, but from a soundtrack and visual point of view, it's fucking kick-ass. Like I said, you will enjoy this film if you keep an open mind. And yeah, I don't want to spoil too much more about it. You should go out and watch it. Yeah, just go out and watch it. I don't want to say too much more about it. Obviously, I will put a link below about where you can get this shirt for Christmas presents. If you're thinking for a special one out there. If you're wanting to get a really special Christmas gift, I might do some posed pictures for the ladies in your life. Yeah, the money will go to sick children or children that are sick in the head like me. So yeah, I'll kind of round it up and say go and watch Streets of Fire, and I just fucking hope you enjoy it. And I wish Michael Paré had a bigger career because he doesn't really. And Bill Paxton is probably, well, you know, he kind of got a career, but it's kind of funny just to see him get the cunt kicked out of him quite a lot. Get the cunt kicked out of him. Get his cunt kicked. More to the point. Sorry, I've had so many takes of this now that this is slightly starting to get to my head. This is like the fucking 6th glass or something. I try my best, but there's only so many fuck up. And I managed to fuck that bit up there as well. I get distracted off of this. Let me just sum up the film. It's not the world's greatest film, but you will enjoy it, and it's got a fucking brilliant soundtrack, and if you like things from the 80s, just fucking go and see it. Catch you later, troops.